Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Ambrosia Nutrition Kitchen and welcome to A Guide to Sardinia and the lovely website that or webpage full of services that Ben has created for all of us here in Sardinia. Ash has been cooking on Sunday, Mother's Day, a beautiful meat dish, beef Wellington, and Tash was the next one after with another beautiful meat dish. And so I've decided I go vegetarian for a change on this Friday. Last Friday I did fish. I hope you enjoyed that. And I made you another fish dish which I've just created next Friday, just sort of to stay with to stick with a Friday fish theme. So this one is tofu, which is an important source of protein for many vegetarians. It comes from the Asian cuisine, so it's big in Japan and Vietnam. Not Vietnam, I actually don't know. I don't know the Vietnamese kitchen very well, but definitely big in China. So I'm going to show you how to put a lot of flavor in this because it's really bland. It tastes like nothing much, and so it needs some add-ons to get that tasting nice. But I'm going to start us off with some. It's a German, or it's inspired by a German recipe called Brühkartoffeln, which is broth potatoes in a rough translation. So I've already peeled and chopped my potatoes in sort of 2 by 2 centimeters dice, or whatever shapes come up, and I'm going to add some water with that lovely vegetable broth that my friend Ragela always makes for me. So this is a Thermomix broth that you make from all sort of leftover vegetables, onion, anything that looks a bit wilted. You can put it in and then puree it with a lot of salt, and the salt preserves it. It also flavors your dish that you want to flavor. So it's just like a wet stock powder if you want. So I put it into my lovely cup of water here and add that to my potatoes. We need about for that portion that I'm making, I've got 5 potatoes in there, and I'm going to add another one. We need about 1.5 cups of water. Just fetch another 1/2 cup of water. Rinse this out so we get all the goodness, put that in, and I quickly wanted to show you how to hand peel a potato. I've already spoken about this before. It's a nice skill to develop. So you just start running the knife very thinly along whatever you're peeling, and just go in circles and catch all the lovely peel and all the lovely dirt. Put this on your compost, so you're not wasting any of the precious resources and returning lots of carbon back into the soil. So yeah, just keep going round and round and round and round, as thin as possible. You get better with time. And I find once you've mastered this, it's a lot faster than peeling with a peeler. So just give it a wash, and yeah, you can see that. Half it another time lengthwise, and then sort of get my 2 centimeter bits there. And in my pot it goes. Just trying to see what you can see. That's good. Excellent. Then I add, and that's classic for broth potato, I add carrot. So I've got really large carrots here, and again I cut them into sort of 2 centimeter bits roughly, and to make sure that everything cooks at the same time. That's really important in all cooking, that you sort of understand cooking time of your veggies, so you can time it a bit better. And the other trick with this dish is, because you basically just layer it all in the pot and then leave it leave it there without any stirring, and the heat will rise from the bottom, so the heat hits the bottom first, so the potatoes cook the longest at the bottom, then it reaches the carrots, then I put an onion over the top, and the pumpkin last, because that cooks relatively quicker. So yeah, hopefully that all cooks together and all the flavors with this beautiful broth combine. I put in half a large white or brown or purple, whatever onion you have, and again just chop that roughly. When you chop, it's always a good idea to put your fingers down, not like that, so you cut them down to save yourself from cutting. A sharp knife is the best way to stop yourself from cutting yourself, and don't hesitate to give sharp knives to your kids either at a certain age, because most accidents actually happen with blunt knives, and you slip and hit yourself. And having said that, I really need to sharpen my knives. So, and here I've got a bit of homegrown pumpkin. I love growing pumpkins. Pumpkins is one of the most rewarding crops to grow, as it grows so fast, it grows so big. I find it really impressive, and for a little bit of effort you get a whole lot of yield, and it basically keeps you fed over winter with so many different dishes. You can start. I can see there's a few people watching. You can write down in the comments how many dishes you can think of to cook with pumpkin. It's a beautiful vegetable. So in there, last thing, after I put in the onion and the pumpkin, just a bit of homegrown celery. They're more like celery leaves. I don't really have very much celery, unfortunately, at the minute. So we'll make do with what we've got. So important when you cook like this, you need a fitting lid. Wherever that went, I don't know. I better find it. So on the stove it goes. I find my lid. Hurrah! Here's the lid. And on it goes. Very good. So there's a big pot of vegetables that should feed 4, and it's not expensive. It's all pretty fresh. If you have leftovers, or you just make the same proportions as I suggest, then the leftovers you can just leave in that pot. Mash it, add a bit of water, and makes a beautiful soup, beautiful veggie soup. You can chuck a few croutons on, or a bit of chopped feta, and voila, there is your, there's another dish. I think it's clever to understand what you can reuse rather than throwing it away, saving money and resources. Always good. Very good. So next thing, we're going to get to our tofu. We're going to make that taste really nice. Normally I pre-marinate it in the morning to have the flavor soak through the tofu. It does taste a bit better, but it still tastes really, really nice when you add it now. The reason I only do it now because I wanted to show you the whole process. So I am the master of cutting corners in the kitchen and minimizing dishes. Who likes doing dishes? So what I do is I take my nice large fry pan, add some olive oil, about 4 tablespoons. I always say at least a tablespoon per person, and then you cut your lovely. Oh, you know what I forgot? I just see this here. I've got this lovely thyme and a little bit of marjoram. I add this to my pot with the broth potatoes. I really like thyme in that. That's not traditional German cuisine, but I don't really worry about following a strict recipe or cuisine. I just cook whatever I like. And thyme is an awesome herb. It's really good for upper respiratory tract infections, and it is anti-parasitic. So in it goes over the top, and it will just permeate the lovely potatoes and vegetables as the steam hits it and circulate it. Very good. So sorry, there is my phone. I should have turned that off. Never mind. So the way I open these packs, I just do a cut lengthwise on the bottom part of the pack, and then I just open it over the sink and let the two bits drop out, and then you've got your tofu out relatively easy. I'm sure there are other ways as well. So I've just done four cuts lengthwise, and I do a horizontal cut. This is firm tofu. For this dish, firm tofu is better, so it keeps its shape. So all I do is cut dice like this, and I directly throw this into the pan, into the oil, and so we're getting to the safe dishes part. And in it goes. There you go, all cut up. Beautiful tofu. There are people who make their own tofu, most amazing. There's a bit of myth busting to do around tofu. Some people think that when you have had a history of breast cancer, because it has phytoestrogens, so plant estrogens, that it's not allowed to eat soy. However, if you hop on the government cancer website, there's a disclaimer there that small culinary amounts, so what you eat, is fine. Just not, a massive 300-gram tofu steak every day. But if you've got tofu twice a week, say 100 grams each time, that is actually health enhancing. And for women with excess estrogen scenarios, such as really strong periods or painful periods, hot sweats, and a bit of depression or anxiety during PMS, the phytoestrogens can actually counterbalance the strong estrogens in the body. Come on. Hang on just a sec. Sorry guys, it was the lovely neighbors checking in on me. Yes, so now I've lost my thread, but yeah, a little bit of plant estrogens as from soy is a good idea. So now I am chopping up some ginger, which is one of our marinating ingredients for the tofu. So it doesn't need to be ultra fine. If you have if you slice it in 2mm slices and then all over in 2mm dice, that's plenty fine enough. Oh, the smell of ginger. Oh, it's so good. And this kind of just chopped up ginger, you can just take a teaspoon of that, chuck it in your mug, pour boiling water over it, and drink it. It's a beautiful beverage. And ginger is anti-inflammatory and just delicious. And it's also helping with circulatory stimulation, and it's a warming food for people who are really suffer from the cold. I can hear my water boiling, so I just turn my veggies to low and then just let them simmer till they're cooked. So here we go. And another piece of ginger. I've got sort of a generous 2 centimeter knob of ginger for my marinated tofu. Chop, 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 chop. And I've got a little bit of leftover onion from my lunch, and because I don't waste anything, I chop that finely and put this in as well. All adds to the flavor. Second last thing going in here, or third last thing I should say, is a bit of garlic. Garlic is, as you've heard me say many times, a beautiful antibiotic, so antibacterial food. I always call it nature's antibiotic. And if you chop it fresh, it is activated, and if you consume it relatively quickly afterwards, you get the full antibiotic effect of your garlic. So what else do we need? We need a bit of turmeric. So turmeric you can buy like a ginger rhizome as well. However, I forgot that, but I've got my my dried turmeric. So I put about a teaspoon of that in. And turmeric, the research that is being pumped out about turmeric is just absolutely phenomenal. It's like, what else can it do? I'm always wondering what's the next thing they're coming up. They're currently looking at turmeric being efficacious in Alzheimer patients. That's pretty good. So put that back. And to better activate your turmeric, you want to add some cracked pepper. There you go, just pepper milk. And that helps the absorption of turmeric, as does the olive oil, as does the application of heat. So 3 things to make your turmeric easier, to absorb your turmeric better: heat, pepper, and fat. So we've already got our olive oil in here. You can add a bit of cayenne or chili if you like. However, that is not necessary. If you don't like hot, it still tastes super. And the other thing that I will put in there is some tamari soy sauce. That tamari is a naturally fermented soy sauce, and is a bit more healthful than your home brand soy sauce, which has a bit more salt in it and is actually not properly fermented. So some more health benefits with the tamari, about 2 tablespoons of that. So then you've got this lovely scenario here. So I've just chucked it all into the fry pan, and you can see the oil pooling at the bottom. So all I do now is give this a stir, and actually while I do this I can already start the heat to start frying that beautiful tofu. Good. So I coat everything nicely with the I coat the tofu nicely with all the lovely spices and soy sauce that I have added, and I can already smell all these beautiful flavors coming together. So this is, and my mouth is watering, this is really like not a flash in the pan, but health in a pan in many ways. So with adding these particular flavors, you're actually adding a whole lot of health. And this is really what I would like to relay, that food can be potent medicine, and every day, every time you put something in your mouth, you can add to that. And seriously, I'm not saying don't ever eat chocolate again. That is just, you know, not a statement that I would ever want to make, or, you know, to never have anything from the fish and chip shop. That is not a life worth living, and that's not what's it about. Because part of well-being is, you know, enjoying life, and you know that fish and chips, the odd fish and chips is just part of life enjoyment, or you know, whatever it is, or a burger. You know, this is it's not necessary to be 100% in anything, I believe. Very good. So this is heating up, and I just lift it up to show you how beautiful this is now coated. There you go. The turmeric, of course, has stained the tofu a lovely typical turmeric yellow. And what I do now is I'll just let it fry, and yeah, it will be done in about that just takes about 10 minutes. The bits of ginger and garlic will go a tiny little bit crispy. You don't want it to go black. A, that doesn't taste so nice. B, it's not particularly healthy to eat burnt food. So I'll leave you to it, and I will post a photo of the finished dish. Yeah, I look forward to cooking for you next Friday. It'll be a fish dish with preserved lemons. So we kind of have a Moroccan touch. Seems like we're getting around with the countries with our cooking, from curries from India to Morocco to where was I last Friday, to Mexico and so forth. So I hope you enjoyed it. Are there any questions? Yeah. So last thing I'll leave you with is, so you just let it sit there. You actually don't need to you don't need to stir it. You don't need to stir it very much. Once the first side is a bit brown, light brown, you just stir it, brown the other sides, and that's it. Then you're done. It's a pretty easy dish and pretty yummy. Have a good one. Ciao.